I'm hitting the go live button. I'm just going to quickly check that the audio is fine. Right, here we go. We're live. So now it's time for me to read out the following. You are listening to Let's Go, the weekly anime podcast about weekly anime from Dynamite in the Brain and Secret of the Sailor Madness. So come along and hang with the Let's Go gang. It's Dwayne.
Hello.
Niles at his second wedding of the summer. And it's me, Brian.
It's the summer of love. But when isn't it? It's too fucking warm.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Then watch out for the...
It makes people make long-term commitments. That's the problem with heat.
winter of divorces.
Oh dear.
On this episode, we are covering anime that aired the week of the 12th to the 18th of June, 2022. Except for this thing that we're about to talk about. The thing I wanted to talk about last week. Do I remember about anything about it this week? Let's find out. Tiger and Bunny Season 2, Episode 11. Every cloud has a silver lining. In which we've got our bad guys. What are they called? Fugan and Mugen?
Yeah, I've forgotten which one's which, but they have paralyzed or not paralyzed. That's not the proper term, because they're fixed like stone. Two of our heroes again, which doesn't appear to be what their powers do. So we still don't know how the fuck they're doing that.
Yes, and they're not able to do it for the rest of this episode, which makes me wonder whether it's their dad's next ability.
Yeah, like they bring him the superheroes and he petrified. That's the fucking word.
Yes.
Couldn't think of it.
Yeah. Because what their actual power is teleporting or warping, as they describe it, and it's kind of like he reflects your damage back at you, so it's like Bishop's rather than Sebastian Shaw's.
Yeah. But it is one of those, along with teleportation, it's one of those very cheap in the playground superpowers that's just like, no, I take the damage you give me and I put it back on you, which is, yeah. I guess you could just, like, their plan is to capture that motherfucker, which is like, yeah, that's a good plan, just holding him the fuck down. And that'll do it.
So it's Rock Bison,
Rock Bison's trying to cheer up everyone else at the gym.
Blue Rose, and the New Kids. Those are who the characters we're following this episode. Because
and the cat girl.
Yeah, no, I'm included here in the New Kids. That she's off the.
Yeah, of course. Kids. Yeah, you're quite right. She is new as well. But yeah, Golden Ryan and Blue Rose are. He's helping her, like, I guess, not move out of her mom's, but I guess move into the superhero thing because
they've been told they're all going to report to this location because it'd be safer if we keep you all together.
Yeah, exactly. You'd be able to respond to the situation quicker.
But she wants to go and see one of her friends who's debuting as an idol. And Golden Ryan's like, we could go. She said, no, we shouldn't go. We could go. It's on the way. We could go and stop and take a look at it. He's generally
and it's basically just like, he's trying to be a solid fucking dude because he's like, yeah, sorry, I've been thinking about protecting you, and I mean, like, we're partners in this. I should see you as an equal. I was kind of seeing you as a woman to be protected, and that's my own fucking hang up, and I'm working on it. He's being a sound dude. He's trying to do better, and he's like, we can't let these evil villains control our lives. So they do check out the thing in the park, and Rock Bison is cheering up all the kids at the gym because they're kind of like, they're all blaming themselves, and it's just like, well, I was there at the hospital and I could do nothing about it, so there's no point in trying to lament over not what you can change in the past. It's just like, we need to figure out how to do this better. And he talks them all out of it, and then the lads teleport in behind him. It's like, we're here now. Damn it. It's all going so well.
It was. And Magical Cat's mum's like, well, now your partner's in a coma, so your chance to climb up the ladder of being a superhero.
God, she's such a prick. Oh my god, yeah. This is the first time I've ever heard her be happy in any fucking regard. And it's because her child's partner has been hospitalized.
Yeah.
Madness.
Jimmy Olsen runs into
Tiger at the hospital. Yeah.
And he agreed.
And he's like, hey, Jimmy Olsen, would you keep an eye on Barnaby for me? Because, you know, I'm going to be away for a bit. And Jimmy Olsen's like, well, I was going to check in on him anyway. So yeah, that's grand. And I've got nothing to do here in the hospital. So it's all that's working out great. I assume nothing will go wrong there.
And talking to
I do appreciate that Jimmy Olsen is not the bad guy in this thing. He's actually trying to do good things. But even his boss, who shows up to presumably bring him bananas in his convalescence and starts eating the bananas as well because he is a piece of shit. He's kind of like, good news, your power boosts next powers. It doesn't give people next powers, it boosts them. Who are we working for, boss? I don't have to tell you that.
Yes. Talking of things which I'm sure will definitely work out well. The lady from Ouroboros, whose name I'm not sure we've ever been given, the client.
Oh, you know, I'm not sure. Yeah,
has got.
I think we got a code name, maybe.
Has got herself another person to experiment on. Somebody a little bit more promising than the blue-eyed mouse they had before, in what seems to be an incredibly bad idea from what we have briefly learned of this man earlier in the series, Gregory Sunshine. So this was the guy
with the power to hug you and make your powers go wild.
Yes. So this is the guy which ruined Golden Ryan's life at his previous team, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Previously. So yeah, I'm sure this is going to go absolutely fine for Ouroboros. I like the fact that Nikolai, the kid's dad, so to speak, he really does not have good feelings about this woman and her plan.
Because she's constantly referring to his two boys as pawns, yes. And he's like, they're not pawns. Like, he doesn't say what they are to him, but there's clearly like he's a bit more involved with the people who work for him than she is. And again, we get the kind of background of those guys trying to not rob a restaurant, but like they robbed a bunch of wallets and they were gonna pay the money for the restaurant in this episode. And we get some next hatred where the dude pulls out a shotgun on two next children. And he kind of like is in the restaurant and puts down his papers like, hey, shut the fuck up. And cut back to that guy kick the shit out of and his shotgun messed up on the ground. He's like, now you kids, you need to dress smart and be right and all that kind of thing. And that's why they try and clean themselves up later on in the massive fight that they get into in the gym.
Yeah. And this is why I was getting the impression, this is why I was getting the feeling, like maybe that orphanage isn't specifically an Ouroboros orphanage. It's something where nexts get put.
Next kids, yeah. Could be. Because it would be a good place for Ouroboros to scout from, for sure.
And probably also the hero system as well.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely something that people involved in power stuff would be very much so concerned with, yeah.
Yes, and then they attack them once all the heroes, except for Barnaby and Tiger, are all in one place. The pair of them cause all sorts of trouble, and but then the heroes cause all sorts of trouble for them. Particularly the adults in the room do, because they're trying to get the kids out of the building while they take care of them.
Because they do the dick move of teleporting to the Blue Rose's friends recital and teleport her and Golden Ryan. Is like, we need more heroes to fight. It won't be fair unless it's 6-on-2. Wait, was that right? 6-on?
6-on-2.
They needed more.
6-on-2.
Yeah.
Sigourney Rosicki is the lady's name. Sigourney.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm not sure they've ever said it in the show. So
I did like Rock Bison's thing of like, I need to evacuate you kids out here because, well, at that stage, Thomas has one of his arms fucked up.
Yeah.
And he's just like, yeah, you guys aren't quite ready for this, so I'm gonna punch out this window and throw all of you out the window. You're superheroes, you can handle it, it's fine.
You can figure out. There's nothing wrong with running away. And then meanwhile, Blue Rose and Golden Ryan have led whichever one it is who's got the damage reflection into a trap where they just crush him under a giant block of ice.
And trying to play keep away between him and the teleporting guy, but they can't manage to keep them apart, so they manage to escape out of that.
Yes, and when they get back, they're like, yeah, we'll take that drug because we've just suffered our very first defeat we've ever suffered, and we feel really bad about it now.
Yeah, your one's like, hey, you want this cool drug? It boosts your powers. And the dad's like, I don't know. They're like, yeah, sounds good. Sounds good to me. But now they're glowing purple rather than blue. So
Yes.
presumably that's bad.
And meanwhile, Tiger and Yuri are rushing to the location because they've seen it on the news that what's going on. But by the time they get there, the twins have already got there again and defeated our three heroes.
Yeah, they defeated Blue Rose, Golden Ryan, and Rock Bison. But the other three kids are in an ambulance getting patched up.
But also they've kidnapped them and taken them to Nikolai.
They did take them directly to their dad, and his power like reflects the power back before he even takes any damage. And the other guy explains that his teleportation is now more whoosh than it was before. I'm not sure how you can improve on his power, honestly. It's very good.
So, he just sort of indicated
feels good to him.
It's going a little bit faster.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm gonna get the feeling that Yuri's gonna put on that lunatic costume very soon.
Because like Wild Tiger was kind of like going up to him, was like, Chief, we got to do something about this. We can't just sit down. He's like, I could do something about it, but it involves me being like an anti-hero. And I don't want to do it because, he doesn't want to get caught or whatever, I assume. Yeah.
Well, or he's putting it behind him, but I wonder if
he's trying to actually focus on the hero program.
Yeah, I wonder if learning that Ouroboros is involved will be the thing which
to pull him out of it.
Because there's nothing like the corruption inside the hero system this time round, is there? Because she's just acting like some sort of businesswoman as opposed to anything tied up specifically. And there's no clues that she's like involved in one of the sponsors or anything.
She's funding medical experimentation for the greater profit of Ouroboros in a non-specific way.
Again, it's very hard to tell exactly what Ouroboros wants because different members seem to want entirely different things.
And maybe that's kind of the point. Like they're a generalistic terrorist organization, but they have very different individualist goals.
Yeah, I guess it's a bit like Hydra in the Marvel universe. The comics where you've got like 8 different leaders and each one's got their own department, but they're all like not necessarily all pulling in the same direction. But yeah, good fun. I think this was probably the best superhero fight stuff from the series so far. And ironically, none of them ever put their superhero suits on for the entire episode.
Yeah, the only CG guys we get are the twins, obviously.
And they're fun villains because they're so childish.
It's the thing of like you kind of see a lot of people trying to make more complicated villains, and villains were from a certain point of view they're the hero of their own story. It's like, no, just make someone who's a selfish little piece of shit. Make them a literal fucking child, like in this thing, and it's just like, that makes a good villain because you can't reason with that.
Yeah. And they've never been led astray, but it seems like they've been led astray for their own survival.
Yeah, and one of the things that kind of pushed them that way was the next hatred in the first place.
Yeah, and you've got the idea of like, okay, Nikolai's bad, but Sigourney's probably worse because she's not treating people as human beings even under her own employ. And then
that chief medical researcher guy is constantly getting like experimented on to see how weird they can make his fingernails grow. Basically,
because that's how they test out Gregory's boosted abilities, by giving him a big hook,
strapping him to a chair and having Gregory hug him.
And I see that's going to be her downfall, is the fact that she doesn't see people as beyond pawns, is that she can't see that she probably can't comprehend of just how dangerous Gregory Sunshine is probably going to turn out to be, based on what we know and what Golden Ryan knows. So that should be fun. It should be fun to see everybody's plans fall apart over the next 2 episodes. Which is kind of what I want in any sort of crime story, is particularly when you've got criminals who aren't. I like a crime story where the criminal conspiracy isn't all running in the same direction, and where
it's not running smoothly. People are running at loggerheads against each other, kind of thing.
That's going to be fun, and I guess now it's going to be a Barnaby, Tiger, and Yuri story, because there's no...
Yeah,
Oh,
because
there's the
Barnaby
3 kids
does
as
wake
well.
up at
The
the
3
end.
kids, I guess, will get involved.
Yeah, it'll be their chance to step up as well, obviously.
But yeah, so this was a good showing for like all the old heroes. Kind of got their showings in the last 2 episodes, and towards the finale over the next 2. Then we got Birdie Wing, Golf Girl Story, episode 11. No matter how tall a weed grows, it will never reach the sun. Training montages.
I liked the title of this one because I thought it was the way it seems to be like it's the golf club captain.
Yes,
I think she is.
She is, yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if she was captain or manager, and I was like, no, the other guy's the manager. I thought she was like hazing Eve, so it's just like, you're a weed, you'll never see this, and it's like, no, but she turns that back on herself, and I was like, that's nice. I did appreciate that.
She's the weed in this scenario. Also
all the training montages, it's like, yeah, you can hit that ball perfectly onto the green, but I'm going to pick it up and fuck it into the bunker, just because you need to practice if you fuck up more so than if everything goes well. That's more important.
An absolutely filthy golf innuendo at the start of the episode.
That and the bit where your one was standing literally in front of him and says, "Hey, she's got this is custom golf gear, like Char's custom fucking." That's like, you can't just say that in the show. That's got to be illegal, right?
We also have the caddy like rubbing herself up against golf clubs.
That's true. She is horny for golf. In general, yeah.
Yes, Aoi is horny for Eve. She wants to know where Eve is. Where's Eve? She's training, and yeah, it's like 2/3 of the episode are just Eve training, which is fun because they make it interesting. There's the when she gets stuck in the bunker, of like making herself some footing by dropping loads of golf balls in the bunker and standing on them. I thought that was a clever visual that I don't think I would have ever considered doing. But yeah, it's basically she's trying to get her up to speed so she can go up against the best golfer there is in the tournament.
Because Eve will be basically taking her place in the doubles tournament. And her thing is that she worked really hard for it, and she worked herself too hard, and she's got golfer's elbow, which keeps flaring up, which means she'll never surpass that plateau. Like it'll always get thrown out now and again, but she can make sure that Eve is trained enough to be better than her, because Eve's got more raw talent, and like you know the sports things, you know how it works.
Yeah. We also meet Aoi's grandfather.
Yeah, he's a bit of a weirdo, all right. Because initially that's the thing preventing Eve and Aoi from golfing, because Grandpa's like, hey, come visit Grandpa. And she's off in a huff, but he's like, I bought your favorite sweet from that one place that you like. And she's delighted. And then obviously Eve has to go off on a training arc during this episode, so that more things to prevent them playing golf with each other.
Does the mum make a brief showing in this one? I can't remember.
They mention her. They always mention her, and they kind of cut to her in an office or looking out a window or whatever the hell. Yeah.
And yeah, more importantly, there was a tweet from the official account indicating that this is just season 1 of Birdie Wing.
Okay. Good.
So it doesn't look like it will be over with the and yeah, then they have like a warm up. They've got to do a warm up poll, and then more lewd comments about her 48-inch club.
I'm fine with this horniness around what are essentially like fucking underage girls, because it's all directed towards golf. It's golf is the thing that should make your 9-wood swing. I don't fucking know, golf pun. You know.
Yeah. But yeah, it's worse when you've seen some of the writers' other output.
Okay, fair
and then
enough.
you're like, stop, you're being horny again. You've been horny in the golf anime. And weirdly, it feels a lot hornier now. It's away from the sexy golf snake woman.
Who just turned out was like, I mean, that dude was into it, but other than that, yeah, she just seemed fairly sound out.
Yeah, It's weird that they've got away from the openly lascivious woman who was using her sexuality to win golf.
She's using pheromones.
Yes.
Her sexual stink is putting you off your game,
Yes.
basically. But this is more horny somehow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is
it's
somehow more
incredible.
horny. But it's because they're hornier for golf. There's
Yeah,
multiple
yeah,
characters
that's the
now.
thing.
There's 2 characters who are horny for each other, and they've also added this other
Yeah.
character who is super horny for golf itself. And then there's just the suggestion that everybody else is also horny for golf.
Yeah, I mean, like the constant thing of trying to keep Aoi and Eve apart is golf is their relationship.
Yes.
Golf is sex to them. I don't fucking know. It's weird, and it's weird to think about, but like that's definitely how it's been framed before. And even in this one where they have to play like a hole to kind of prove to the class that Eve deserves the spot, they're like they're ribbing on each other, and they're kind of just like they're playfully playing golf as well, and just like it's a weird amount of sexual tension in this golf game.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Then it's your boy Kongming, episode 12, Eiko's song. She sings her song. It does its job.
No way.
It has 2 jobs to do. It has one job, get him over 100,000 votes. The other job is to get into Namamin's heart, and so she can follow her musical career the way that she wants to. And it does from across the street. It convinces Azalea to throw away their masks.
Well, initially, your one basically says like, "Hey, everyone, stop booing! Let them play! Let them play!" Which gets them their 100,000. But Azalea throw away their masks. They go like, "Yeah, we were also putting ourselves through this shit for you because you're our friend who we enjoy music with. So let's get the band back together."
And somehow those costumes they feel so much. It feels like just taking the masks off makes them seem skimpier, even though they're exactly the same costumes they were
it's weird,
previously.
right?
Yeah.
I think it's the mask that covers the eyes, and the fact that they stay very po-faced when they're when they're playing. It's just like there's no emotionality.
And I think
to
also
it.
they were outfits designed to dance in, not play musical instruments in.
Although there was some really nice animation where they clearly modeled people
what I mean.
in these costumes playing music, because the way your one's cape moves, I was just like, damn, that looks fucking great.
That's kind of what I was getting at. It's like, the costumes become skimpier when you see them moving more realistically.
They're not doing the idle kind of pose that everyone's doing the same dance. It's just someone fucking jamming on guitar, and it's like,
what is essentially a swimsuit.
I mean,
possibly
like
less than a swimsuit in one case for sure.
The
guitar.
God, it definitely looks worse for it. Hopefully, they can fix the whole costume situation.
Yeah, I assume they will. Yes, and then they go to the after party. They have a chat on the roof. The series is over. Wait for season 2.
That's
pretty much it.
I did like the way a lot of the after party was framed. It was very well done because it was partially done as kind of like the end sequence where we see them all hanging out at the club that we've seen up to this point. There's some framing that's very similar. It has like the 2 guys cheering and that kind of thing. But I think my favorite one was Kome kind of locking in the manager. It's like, haha, I looked up your past. You were in a glam metal band. You appreciated their metal thing, and you lost your way, and I'm going to get you back on the right way. And he gets the manager to admit a load of shit, while the girls are immediately to his right.
Because he thinks they're over there talking to Eiko, because Eiko's talking to 3.
I assume Kome has put 3 girls who look like them from behind, wearing similar but not the same clothes, so you could easily make that assumption. It was very well done. Yeah,
it is. The photo of the band, I was like, I was a little because there's the band Scanch, who Rowley was a member of, and they don't exactly resemble them, but they kind of resemble them. And there was somebody in that band who had an injury falling down a set of stairs, and that kind of sort of ended her career. She did reunite with the band later, and I was like, is that what they're referencing? If it is what they're referencing, should they be referencing it in the terms of this character? But we don't really learn as to exactly where his grudge isn't due to his disability. It appears to be, but unless you make that connection like I did, and then you're like,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
little odd.
I mean, I think Komei says something about the band betrayed you,
Yeah,
and it's just yeah.
which I don't think was the
It's
case at
it's
all.
it's not said, but it's kind of it
Yeah,
could be implied. Yeah, for
yeah.
sure.
I was like, if he's drawing on something real there or not, I don't know. It's but I guess he's on the girl side now, so they're all a team. They're going to push Azalea, but doing it right this time as a band,
Hmm.
because there is an audience
The
for it.
new Azalea.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, and Komei actually changes his move of stealing 100,000 arrows of returning 100,000
Yes.
arrows. Because I assume like he kind of subtweets them and he makes sure that their new the new concert that they put on that day got a lot of attention, and it did. So a lot of the old fans came back and literally came out onto the street. It's like, I heard you guys was playing.
Yes,
Will you do an
because
encore?
we learned that one of the two fans who were like the audience in the audience, and
God, those fucking fans. Your one is just like, I'm just obsessed with this one person's band. The other guy's like, yeah, this is like their old stuff. It's like,
yes,
oh my
yeah.
God, I fucking hate these
Well, I
people.
know, but it was like he'd been with them for day one, and
Yeah,
he
yeah.
likes the band so much he's moved along with whatever they've chosen to do.
And your one's delighted by like a kind of a side of Azalea she wasn't familiar with. It's just like, this is actually better, that her favorite member of the band is actually showing emotion and that
Yes,
kind of thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that I like when Eiko's singing a song. I like the cut to the manager of the club sobbing in the cab of the truck, because it's like a reminder, because it's like it's never mentioned beyond the one time that he saved Eiko's life, because it's never
Yeah,
something
yeah.
she goes back to. But it's obviously something on heavy on he's like taken that weight off her by giving her the job
Yeah,
and supporting her career.
giving her the job in the club and supporting her career and like really looking out for her and kind of promoting her and pushing her as much as he could.
Yes.
Like, he's so happy at the end of this. Like, he's like, hey, drinks around the house. Come on, everyone party up. Because he's just so happy. He's essentially fucking daughter that he's taken
Yes.
in is doing very well for herself.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like the fact
it's
that
nice.
it just gives you that one thing early on in the series. It's just mentioned the once, and
Mm.
it's never dwelt on again. But then to see it at the end of the series of like how much it means to him as well was
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
very good storytelling. And what is slightly less believable storytelling is the music producer being the one to hit the final like to take them to 100,000.
He was just waiting. I was like, now go. He was just waiting for his flight to not be delayed by this fog that had come in to make this. What do they call it? The legendary battle of. It's outside the studio that on the corner, like in the same way this was like the Battle of Red Wall or that kind of thing. This is going to be another famous music battle, basically. Go down in the annals of music history.
And then you got to come down, Eiko. They want you to sing the ending credits.
Dear. Yeah, it really is like this. Like the first half, you get two really good songs, and then the back half is just a big fucking party. And I was just like, yeah, I'm fine with that. That's a good way to do it.
Yeah. We still don't know what the other plan was that he didn't implement. So I guess he might have to
Mm,
implement that one day against a more dangerous foe.
mm, mm.
But yeah, he's also talking about how nice it is to not have to live in a world where his skills are being used for actual war, and he can use it
Yeah.
for something more positive.
When Eiko heads back down, he's like, "Come on, we'll go down the party." He sees the ghost of his former master, his lord, and he's just like, "Yeah, you did good. You did good, Kobe." And so Kobe was walking down, and he turns to the camera, and says, "That's fucking part one." Basically.
Yeah, so I hope it does well enough that we get a part two, because boy, I mean, I like Birdie Wing, and I know lots of people think Birdie
Yeah.
Wing's the best thing of the
Oh,
season.
Birdie Wing's like a huge amount of
It's a
fun.
huge amount of
Yeah,
fun,
yeah,
but this is so polished, and the translation is so
yeah.
good, particularly the rap episode. It's just a really good show.
Yeah, because you were worried about your man for a while because he's not like
Yeah,
he's a voice actor turned rapper rather than a
when he's
rapper
got
turned
when
voice
he's got a
actor.
beat, he's
Hmm.
perfectly serviceable and convincing as the
Yeah,
rapper.
yeah.
And I guess you could excuse the street rapping stuff because he's trying to get his mojo back at that point.
Yes.
Um,
He's supposed to be off at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, excellent series. Trying to think what came earlier in the winter season. Is this my favorite thing of the year so far? It might be. Let me have a look. What else was there?
I wouldn't be surprised. Like you say, it's a really gorgeously put together show. Like sound design, visual design is great. There's some real beautiful animation flourishes, but it not the whole time. It knows when to use them and where. Yeah, and even just saving that song, it's been like teasing it for what 4 episodes now. And it still worked. And even then, the song afterwards, I think I enjoyed more because I like instruments and shit like that. I was just like, yeah, that's nice too. It was a nice contrast between the kind of electronic from to the rock kind of thing of them just playing on their own instruments.
Then we've got
really well done.
The Demon Girl Next Door, episode 10. Is this the right episode?
Maybe I put in the wrong episode.
I don't know. Maybe it is the right episode. I think you're right. But just the title, the Ancestors Dojo, Demonkind's Ultimate Weapon. It is, yeah. That's that.
It's actually a very minor part of the episode.
Part of the episode. That's what threw me. Yeah, I was expecting the two-part things to be one part of the title to reference the cockroach situation at the first half. So the first half of the episode, they're trying to get rid of a cockroach in Mikan's apartment. And
yeah, she hasn't gotten used to the bin schedule, so she has a bunch of rubbish piling up, and that's going to bring in the bugs.
Yeah, I can relate to that, as I currently have a fruit fly problem in my kitchen, as I always seem to get.
Oh, they're the fucking worst.
Always seem to get at this time of the year. So I've got the old apple vinegar out to lure them to their doom.
Ah, very nice, very nice.
But maybe what I should be doing is drawing some magical circles.
They were effective for a short amount of time. So I did like, I appreciated the thing of our demon girl not actually being scared of bugs, because it's like, well, they don't even bite you. So I'm used to bugs coming in because we live in, they keep calling the apartment complex made to look like it's abandoned, which she is always insulted by. Yes. But she as a demon, she associates with bugs because they're unwanted pests that people try and exterminate, like demons. And it's just like, cockroaches are fine. I'll give you these tissues and you can pick them up and just put them outside. And he's like, I'm not fucking touching that thing. I'm going to smash it as soon as I fucking...
You could use one of these baggers. You can make a bagger and scare them off. I was like, oh, it's been a very long time since I made one of those. I can't remember how to make them anymore. It's been that long.
Yeah, I've forgotten how to fold them that way.
Yes, and also she's folded all her flyers that she gets through the door into little boxes so she can put the rinds from various citrus fruits without having to get up each time.
Little miniature bins that you can fold up and throw away on their own. I was like, yeah, that's a pretty good plan, especially if you gather a lot of detritus like that.
If your diet appears to be mainly different types of citrus fruit.
The closest equivalent I think we have is near the kettle. We have we have an ashtray. Neither of us smoke, but we drink a shitload of tea. So it's like, that's where the fucking tea bag is going until I put it out in the bin.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not big. At least I'm not my grandmother and saving my lard. Got to save the lard. Any dripping, put all the dripping in a pot.
To be fair, I've had some of that saved drippings, and it can make really nice fucking shit. So I get the appeal.
So that's the first half. The second half is, do you remember when you were in the Dreamlands, Shamiko, you were able to produce a super powerful weapon? Maybe you can do that in the real world. Why don't you go outside and make a 3-kilometer pole?
I want to see if you can break Earth's atmosphere, and it seems to be like a difference between, she can make a thing if she can imagine it, and her imagination is very limited. And I mean, I say limited, she makes a fan for herself to try and convince. It's like, hey, come to the dark side. And it's like, a fan's not a stick. You said you could only make things that are stick. It's like, a fan is a stick. What are you talking about? So it's like, it's her own perception that she needs to change.
And they look up the definition of a stick, and then she realizes a fan isn't a stick, and then the fan disappears, turns back to the fork. Then Momo suggests that maybe you could make a pair of golden chopsticks, and we'll sell one of them, and we'll see what happens when you do the dispel. Are you just supposed to be a good girl, Momo? Are you sure you haven't permanently turned to the dark side?
I mean, like, it's definitely implied in this episode that and the last few that she's kind of like leaning that way, and even the ancestor is like, yeah, I would also like to see if we can
Yes.
make money out of this fucking situation.
But no, the ancestor has a great idea. If she can't imagine it here, we can train her in my domain, and then
Yeah,
once she's
take her into the dream world because she's more powerful
yeah,
there.
and
Yeah.
then once she's trained up, so this was similar to the magic circles in the first half. Is the reason why Momo was getting her to do these multiple magic circles? It's because everyone she did, she was getting a slightly bit more magical.
Yeah, it's kind of like building up muscle. It's just
Yeah.
repeatedly doing a magical thing. Yeah.
So yes, you go to the dimension. And she can take. Ask the little sister if she wants to go. Also, they have reassured the viewer before this happens is that we'll be seeing the pair of them later in the episode.
I did appreciate that, where it's just like, hey, don't worry about it. I'm going to be here later. I do have a bit in this episode.
Yes.
So yeah, she does.
There's also a bit where Lilith points out to Momo that she's holding her upside down, and Momo's like, "I thought this was the right way around you." So yeah, they go inside. We get a comment that the ancestor just looks like what's the phrase? The fighting game phrase?
Palette
Palette
swap,
swap.
Is it?
Yeah, palette swap.
Or color swap or
Yeah,
something.
of Shamiko, and then Shamiko points out, well, if she's the first one, I'm more of a palette swap of her. And so the training is Dynasty Warriors.
Yep. I've poured all of my feelings of being left alone as a little idol that you leave in the corner of the room or sometimes throw into the horizon. And I've taken all those feelings built up over just this summer and turned them into dummies that you can beat up one after the other.
Yeah.
Apparently she feels lonely quite a lot because she has 3,000 of these things, I think it is, or something ridiculous.
Yes, it's 30,000 it turns out to be.
30,000, okay, my bad.
Yeah, so Shamiko's expending too much energy, so Lilith tells the little sister, go and give your big sister some advice. And so she suggests that, why do you imagine a sword that can disintegrate a continent? And she can't. So then she suggests, well, why don't you just try and imagine some of the weapons from the video games you like?
Yeah, yeah.
So she does. She imagines a variety of role-playing game wands and staffs, of which the most powerful is the snack staff.
Yeah, because that replenishes you and still damages them somehow.
Yes.
I'm not sure how that's working, but okay.
Well, Lilith feels out the main cure for loneliness must be to eat snacks. And yeah, so yeah, she manages to get through all 30,000. Well done. Let's return to the real world. And now we're back in the real world. Lilith's going to show a new ability she's learnt. Telephotography, where she can transfer an image of herself into a digital camera, and then you can print that out.
Because the little sister had brought a picture in and wanting to take a picture with the ancestor. It's like, yeah, but that's just a dream of your camera. Yes. That's not really your camera. But I can do spirit photography now. So yeah, you can totally see a cute picture of me and you can hang it on the wall. And it's like, I think that's going to give people the wrong idea when it's put up beside the grandparents and shit.
But it turns out it's just like a Paranormal Activity style haunted image.
A haunted photograph. Yeah.
So I think that was the punchline, wasn't it? There's a bunch of funny stuff. The look on the little sister's face when they're getting ready to go into the dreamland of like a big beatific smile with her eyes closed, tucked up in bed. Meanwhile, Mikan's complaining that she's having to do her homework while everyone else is going to sleep next door. Like that's
because she thought she didn't have to do homework because she's transferring to this school. It's like, well, that means the homework doesn't carry over. It's like, no, it actually does carry over.
Yeah, because that was the actual punchline, was that Mika had fallen asleep as the other pair were waking up. Yeah, couple of stories. So it hung together more as an episode this week than it did last.
Even if the title confused you for a second.
It did. Once I realised, oh, that's just the second half, the dojo, the ultimate weapon, sorted. Not enough tapir. That's probably my only criticism.
Yeah, that's true.
Then we've got I'm KODAMA Kawashiri, the dissolute life of a dangerous Lifehacker, episode 18, The Cognitive Shuffle, as we get a secret technique to get yourself to sleep.
Is this the first bit of actually good advice? Because this seems like it would work.
Possibly,
right?
But do you have a really annoying voiced creature inside your brain pulling out the leads of your consciousness.
I don't know. I haven't like felt the power breakers of my brain being shut down one after the other, but apparently it's pretty fun. So I might have to give that a go.
Yeah. Anyway,
name every word you can think of beginning with pick a letter of the alphabet. Okay.
Okie dokie. Well, yeah, maybe if I'm desperate, I'll give it a go. Then it's Kaguya-sama, Love is War, Ultra Romantic, Episode 11. Miyuki Shirogane wants to make her confess, Part 4. Tsubame Koyasu wants to say no, and Miyuki Shirogane wants to make her confess, Part 5.
Right. So I'm trying to remember everything that happened. It's day 2 of the Culture Festival. So basically, the main part 4 wants to make her confess. Part 4 is she's going in to see the president in the, I want to call it balloon art exhibition, where she's going to try and get him to make a heart for her. So he will be giving her a heart, thereby cementing any future romantic entanglements, because that's how it works. And she's like, this is pretty good, but she can't ask for a heart, so she has to like, okay, it can't be alive, it can't be this kind of thing. So she specifies everything, but it has to be the color red or pink, you know. That, and it's like, and he's like, how about a heart? And she's like, that'll do. That fits all my criteria. That works. So, but the problem is that she realizes later that she didn't actually look at the price listing. If you want to get a heart done, you have to give the other person a heart. So she would have to give him the heart keyring that she's been keeping on him to give him just in case, but then that would be her admitting defeat. So, you know, runs off, doesn't manage to get that done. Second part is Tsubame's kind of like, I don't know how to handle this confession from Yui. So she's going to ask Kaguya for advice, because she's great and people must confess to her the whole fucking time. And Kaguya has picked up entirely the wrong situation, where it's like, oh, someone confessed to her, I'm gonna help out my bro by saying, no, fucking shut him down, and shut him down hard. And then she realizes it is the very person she's trying to protect, and she's like, no, actually, you should probably like hear him out and maybe like definitely go out with him. It's like, give me fucking mixed vibes here. And they watch our pink-haired girl kind of shut down a dude by just being a fucking weirdo, which is, I guess that's one way of working. The guy doesn't seem too perturbed by it, but she insists to Kaguya that I've got a good way of, I'm gonna talk to him behind the bleachers or whatever. He seems delighted by this, because he assumes she's gonna reciprocate, but she's like, I'm gonna end it there. You won't have to console him. Don't worry about it. So I assume she's gonna manage to. She's kind of looking at him now. I was like, I don't really know him well enough to go out with him, but maybe I should get to know him. And so it may be like a deferred answer rather than a thing. But we don't know yet, because she's not saying no, she's not saying yes. But I guess we're going to find out next episode. And then the third part is the part 5 of the Wants to Confess. And they're kind of going around the, like, basically Shirogane asks her around the Culture Festival, like a date. He doesn't seem very perturbed by this. People are talking. He doesn't care. And she's like, won't people think we're going out? And he's like, so? I don't care. Okay. You want to go to the fortune teller who tells only salacious sexual harassment fucking things, where they're just like, oh yeah, based on my readings of this, you'll be great in bed as a wife. Just like fucking weird things. But he's not perturbed by any of that shit, or very slightly. It's all going very well. All of their various friends are distracted by their own bullshit, which is all kinds of fun, where she's like, oh no, not this fucking asshole. They're going to ruin this good time I'm having with the president. And then they just veer off and do their own fucking thing. So the gods are on our side. Everything's working out. Shirogane says, hey, come back to the fucking, the student council office. I got a thing I need to show you. And she's like, oh fuck, is he going to fucking confess? And he's like, I want you to check out this. And she's like, okay, I'll read this. What is this, like a written confession kind of thing? And it's like, he's like, yeah, because she's like, oh, maybe next year we can do the Culture Festival like this again, because this was really nice. Today was really nice. And he's like, yeah, I won't be able to do it next year because I'm skipping ahead a grade and I'm going to Stanford next year. This is my last year at school. Dun, 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 cliffhanger.
Yeah. I think you got what?
It's
one more episode, is that right?
Yeah, and I think it's like an hour long. So I hear it's like a double length or longer thing, so that should be fun. I mean, this one was already like packed full, and
I've tucked myself in
yeah.
then as you and Niall explain it to me.
We'll try and get through it a little quicker, I hope. We'll see how we manage.
Then we've got Dragon Quest: The Adventure of Dai, episode 82, The Successor of Justice. Who is the Successor of Justice, you might ask? It's Leona. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, sometimes I think I was saying to you, or you saying it to me, like it's a good example of the big sister trope, and how that's a necessary kind of role to be like the adult in the fucking room.
Yes.
Sometimes. Yeah.
Because essentially, Dai, Pop, and Ma are like, oh, that Mist Vern, we're going to stay here and beat you up because you're insulting our master. And we're going to beat you up and you're going to tell us how to get him out from where Kilvern's gone. And then Leona shows up and says, no, you won't. Leave that guy alone. We're going to go up those stairs and we're going to fight Vern. Because my job here is to make sure Dai is in one piece before he gets to fight Vern.
That's the job of the rest of the hero's party, to make sure the hero lasts to the final boss. That's it.
Yeah, and we get a flashback of Avan explaining this, and flashbacks within that flashback of when he was going up to Hadlar and seeing some of his party. And it was this point I was like, oh, yeah, he kind of uses this at the end of Kyoryuga, the author does, where they literally push him through to the enemy base in the very last episode. And I was like, okay, that's a good thing. And I like it's whether they'll do it here or it's just going to be push, 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 get Dai to the boss. And I was like, this is a thing One Piece does not do.
Yeah.
I mean, there was some pushing in the most recent arc, but it tends to be everybody pair off against somebody else and then let Luffy wander around until he bumps into the villain.
Or that someone will be like held up before they can fight the person that they need to fight, like you said, to pair off properly.
It never quite feels like everybody moving together as a team and then people being left one behind one by one to fight somebody.
Well, to be fair, in One Piece, it is more often like giant teams against giant teams. Whereas in this, it's like one guy shows up, we have to fight that one guy. Next guy shows up.
Bleach like that in the first big arc when they have to go and rescue Rukia?
There was a few pairing off between guys.
They start off as a team, don't they? And I think it's only your boy at the end. I'm gonna have to learn all these names again when it's back in October. There's a good chance I won't have any time to watch it, so maybe I don't need to worry about it. And I do know how it ends because I've read the ending. It's just the bit in the middle I've not read. I've read as far as I got to in. Well, no, I went a bit further than the anime did. I think I went through the second big arc in Bleach after the first rescue arc. I think I got through the second rescue arc, and then I realized, are they only going to be doing rescue arcs of the female characters in this comic? Do I really need to read it?
Yeah.
Which thankfully is not a thing that this show does. Now,
if anything, like the initial thing of the heroes party kind of wanted to go, we want to beat up this guy because he's a jerk, and it's just like, nah, we're not doing that. If Pop and Mam, you can stay here and fight that guy, and that'll give us time to just skip ahead to the final boss, so that's fine.
Yeah. And so they take a.
Obviously, Miss Fern is kind of like, brilliant. I can torture you so that the hero is going to have to turn around. They're still running up the stairs.
It's going to take you an inordinate amount of time to climb up those stairs.
Deceptively tall.
Yes, either that or the action is all happening a lot quicker than it is actually on screen.
Yeah, quite probably.
Because yes, the Mom and Pop think they're doing pretty well. They think they like she's like, oh, we saw he's got a human face under that hood, so we got to keep him distracted.
Use my refractor
fist. Use my fist. We'll break off his mantle. That'll stop him being protected from your spells.
So Pop throwing off a shitload of the weakest form of explosion spell, and he's like, "This is a weak form. This is barely worth dodging." He's like, "Yeah, it's a distraction, dipshit," and getting Mom in close enough to land one on his cheek.
But it's not enough. And he traps them.
Nope.
And what are they going to do? How are they going to survive? What's Dai going to do? He hears his friends screaming in pain. But then a figure appears sun behind him, so you can't quite make out who he is, even though we, the viewer, knows.
Oh, we can make out the armor though. It's clear who it is.
Yes. And Mom's like,
Hmm.
Hyunkle! And yes, spear is thrown, they're rescued, and then they see it's not Hyunkle. It's a guy who, last time Popsy saw him, was trying to kill him.
I mean, like, he did die honorably after he tried to kill Pop, but yeah, other than that, Pop isn't too pleased to see this guy, understandably. Yeah.
And also, what does it mean about Hyunkle? But he has saved them. He definitely has saved them.
Hmm.
So that's going to be fun, what the conversation between those three is. And I guess them beating up Mistvern, and I assume a bunch of other people close behind once they've eaten some food. I assume that healing food will work. Well, it was not just food, it was any healing stuff they've got. I assume it will work on him now that him is alive and not just a automaton.
I guess because he has aura and
Yes,
shit.
I assume if you got aura.
Whether that means he has a digestive tract, I don't fucking know. But yeah, it's magic. It's probably
I
fine.
assume he's going to be along with Crocodile and the animals. Well, it's just Chiyu and Gome-chan.
Yeah, well, I mean, like it's
did
the
Mr. Beast come with them as well?
Mr. Beast came with them as well. Yeah. So I mean, like that guy literally has magical healing.
And they sent the flying guys back, didn't they? So it's just So yeah, it's the top animal commandos or beast commandos and Chiyu. I assume Chiyu will do something amazing at some point.
But he's got a pants full of healing items. Yes, that's going to come in handy.
He will fulfill his role as the new Usopp. Or the, I guess,
the original Usopp.
Well, I guess Pop was the...
actually, no, he's the second one. Pop is the original. Yeah, you're right.
Pop is the original Usopp. Chiyu is the replacement Usopp. And Usopp is the Usopp. He's the Pop of One Piece. It's taken him a lot longer to become a brave warrior.
It's really good. It seems like not much kind of happens, but it manages to clip along really well as usual. Like it uses its time very well.
Yeah, they make it clear the only way Avon can get back is by winning that duel.
Is if one of them's dead. I'm still not 100% sure how the fuck you kill Vern, because we've seen him be sliced every fucking which way nearly, and he's still come back from it. But it was always the little guy was there. Yeah, the little guy's
not in that thing with him, is it? So
seemingly not. No.
We will see what's up with that at some point, no doubt. Hey, we're in the final fifth now.
How? I don't understand how there's so much left.
Just imagine. Well, it's not going to be like that with One Piece, is it? Because when One Piece ends in the comic, the anime will only be like a year behind. So
yeah, it'll be barely behind.
There we go. Next up on the list is the last thing on the list. It's Spy Family episode 11, STELLA. An episode which I was like, I rewatched it because I was like, surely that couldn't be the only things which happened in the episode. I was like, oh no, that was the only things which happened in the episode. So there's some more training
It kind of just lengthens out the jokes. Basically.
Yeah, it's like training montages as they're trying to figure out what can Anya possibly win a STELLA at. And the answer is,
and she is a small, stupid child, so not much. No.
Yeah, who is 1 year young.
It's not that she's stupid. It's just that she's not academically good. She's not good at sports. She's not good. What are the other things she can possibly do?
She's at least a year younger than they think she is as well, and everybody else.
Yeah, probably at least. Yeah.
So what can she do? Well, community service. Can she do that? That's the way to get STELLA. Apparently, it's community service. And then we get like some things which have happened in the past.
I did like Twilight's constant thing of going his bosses expect her to have the 6 stars within 4 months or something. Some ridiculous timescale. And he's just like, this is fine. Everything's fine. As she's failing every single thing that she could possibly earn a STELLA star for.
Yeah, including community service. She's terrible at that as well.
But I love the way she's bad at them, like, because the montage is is one thing, but the way she's bad at them, the way a child would be, is like, here, sort out these books in the library, and she just ends up reading comics because it's like, yeah, exactly. I mean, like, I fucking when I'm sorting out my own bookshelves, I end up doing that, so it's fine. It's just a really very good. She is a small child.
Yes.
This is why she's not good at any of these things.
And then a child falls into the deep end of the physical therapy pool, and she hears his cries for help via her psychic abilities. And
it's so well done that she can't say there's a child drowning because there's no way she could explain that. And if she gets outed that she has psychic powers, she could get in trouble, or she's afraid she could get in trouble or disowned or ruin the family. And it's just like, so a child's mind trying to figure out, how do I save this child without sounding like I'm crazy or give away that I'm psychic? And be stupid is actually the solution to the thing.
Say, I'm going to go swimming now. And yes,
I'm going to get a STELLA star for swimming. Runs to the physiotherapy pool.
Yeah. Dives in, and then they both have to be saved by Lloyd.
But because she drew attention to the drowning child, and she's like, oh, Lloyd's like, children are very perceptive. She's like, I saw the bubbles.
Yes. And also I suspect the hospital doesn't want anybody to think that they were negligent in supervising a child by a swimming pool.
It's a very, like, you can kind of forgive you one because obviously she leaves the kid to go off into the boys' changing room, the physiotherapist for him. But he was just checking out the pool and he slipped in because obviously he was on a crutch, and it's a swimming pool. It's automatically slippy anyway.
Yes.
It's not, they're super negligent, but obviously, they would like to go like, okay, you did great, kid. Good job. What, in this freak accident that could have been easily prevented.
And so she's the first of their year to get a STELLA. And so now you must address her as Starlight Anya.
She is super smug about it.
I
mean, like, she did save a kid's life. A little bit understandable that she should be proud, but she's really rubbing it in, basically.
Yes, and she's wearing the badge to school every day. And there's some kids are bad mouthing her, and Damien's not having any of it though. He chastises them because they're like, "Oh, she must have cheated to get it."
Or they bribed the school to get it, or and he's like, "You think this school is so fucking stupid that they'd fall for that kind of shit? This is a fucking quality ass school. One of you besmirched the good name of this school. Nothing to do with Anya or anything. No, sorry. I don't think she's the stars in the sun. No way, Jose."
Yes, and he's like, "What would he?" Yeah, because he's annoyed, but he's also protecting her a little bit as well. And then his two head children are like, "What a guy!
What a manly man! A man's man!" Yeah, it's pretty great.
And then Becky's like, they're discussing like what her reward would be. You should get a reward for doing so. And then we learn like Becky gets rewards for like doing the mildest of things.
She is spoiled rotten, basically.
But Anya wants to be.
But she actually somehow is a good kid.
Anya's first choice is peanuts. You should have something bigger, more than peanuts. Okay, then a castle. Castle might be a bit much.
Little smaller. A year's supply of peanuts is like doable, but you could go a little higher because that's just buy a bag of peanuts every day. That's pretty easy.
And then Becky mentions her dog, and then that's the thing she wants is a dog, and that puts the fear of God into or fear of dog into your, because she's absolutely terrified of dogs. It would seem
well, she knows how deadly a dog can be.
Guard dogs.
I assume she's killed many a guard dog in her career as an assassin.
So she's imagining coming home and finding Anya being eaten by a dog.
Whereas, meanwhile, Lloyd's kind of like, oh yeah, a dog would be good defending the home. He's imagining this over-muscled, fucking ridiculous.
I think I've skipped past the best bit though, which is Anya's imagination of her achieving world peace.
Oh, she gets two different fucking ways of achieving world peace, and her voicing everyone else in the cast, including the character we haven't seen yet, is fantastic.
That was such a great choice of the voice actress doing impressions of all the other characters, as you say, including the dad, who we've not heard talk yet.
Just what Anya assumes he will sound like, and I mean, like, what she assumes her dad sounds like is also incorrect.
Yes,
but it's her point of view. So
I think that's the funniest thing they've done in the show so far. I was just cracking.
I have checked out some of the the dubs that they put up because I was curious as to the English, French, and German kind of ones. And none of them are nearly half as good as the Japanese one. It's like, oh, that scene isn't going to work as nearly half as funnily on those ones, I feel, unfortunately.
Yeah, so they're going to pick out a dog, a small one, but then we have a cutscene to a mysterious laboratory where dogs are being, I guess, mistreated.
Yeah, just a really shitty fucking dog pound by the look of it, by the layout of it. And
I think they give the impression it's a laboratory by what they call the dogs.
Yes. Oh, but just kind of like the way it's done. I've seen a particularly nasty, not even a kennel, a dog pound, and when they're let fucking go, they're just shy. I hope that place is shut down. But if the bit with a child drowning didn't upset you, this one's going to upset you. You're going to get upset at some point during this episode.
Anyway, but there is a dog there who has a brief vision of our main characters, and that causes the dog to stand upright. And you'll have to wait till next season to see more of this dog because we're not going straight into that storyline yet.
I look forward to the dog, but I get why they're just doing like an completely unrelated episode next time as a finale.
Yeah, because they've only got one episode left this season. They won't fit that entire storyline in one episode.
They do it a disservice if they did. So that's
they're doing like one of the extra chapters from the volume. I think it was
they go to the zoo.
Yeah, they go to the Penguin Park. I think it's called.
Yes, that was it.
I think it's from the first volume of the manga. So that's what we're getting instead next week.
Yep, should be a delight.
And that's it. That is your lot. We'll be back next week with Niall. So you can pair off explaining an hour's long Kaguya-sama.
We're gonna have to try and like condense that shit because it's easy to get lost in the fucking weeds.
I also need to check where that Dr. Stone is on.
That's right.
That's next week as well. That's 2 hour long things to talk about.
Oh Jesus! Right? Yeah, separate podcast nearly.
That was next week or the following week because there's the tie-in new chapter in Shonen Jump as well. And I can't remember if that was announced for. I think that might be next week. So I think we might only have like Dr. Stone special 10th of July. I'll have plenty of time, so it's a while before we have to worry about that. And I suspect
that's not so bad.
I suspect we're going to have plenty of time. There are those Spriggan episodes an hour long each. I haven't checked it out. I've briefly checked out the start of the first episode.
Okay.
I mean, it really feels like a late 90s, early 2000s OVA, but with more CG. In that it's spy stuff with people who inexplicably have superpowers.
I'm fine with that.
They are double-length episodes. They're all like there's only 6 episodes, and they're all like 3/4 of an hour. So that makes them even more like OVAs. So it's really an OVA series in the year 2022.
I mean, that just makes it even more retro, like the rest of it, I suppose. Yeah.
So it's going to be fun having this representing the end of the 90s, because I think that's when the comic was coming out. Certainly when the film came out, and Bastard representing the start of the 90s, which of course the start of the 90s is 1986. That's the start of the first 90s.
That's right.
And then the next 90s starts around. I guess, do you want to say it starts with Evangelion, or does it start once things start reacting to Evangelion?
Oh, I think you can say the starting point is Evangelion.
I feel like it because
everything reacting to it after.
That's also kind of like the point when all the Britpop bands get big. So I feel like 95. 95 is
kind of a good timing
for the second 90s starts. What a load of nonsense.
Can you believe it's the 90s again? Man, fucking look at the time. How quickly it goes.
Yeah, so that should be a lot of fun. I think I saw Paul say like the first episode covers everything which was in the Manga Mania that they published in Manga Mania, which I think covers everything in. Oh no, maybe the second episode as well, because that's the Noah's Ark. That was definitely there as well. So I think the first 2 episodes might cover what was published in English and what was in the movie. But yeah, I remember liking the comic of Spriggan. And also,
Hmm.
Read or Die has a lot of that stuff as well. It's like it's a spy story, but people have got
With powers.
superpowers.
So you get some weird matching ups of superpowers or
Yeah.
uses of them. Yeah.
Which I guess is Metal Gear Solid as well, to a degree.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Except for the main guy's power is sneaks.
But
I
I
guess.
mean, there's a psychic there, so.
Yeah, but
yeah,
what I'm saying is the guy you played doesn't really have powers. He just has a pocket full of shit that he can mess with. Yeah, gadgets. I suppose
He can fit a lot of things in those pockets. Because it wasn't a modern game where they're like, you can only carry 2 weapons. You have to choose carefully. Righty ho, that is that. We'll be back next week